guys? Welcome to an exclusive interview here on Fight Talk with Jimmy Dukes. Here on the Jimmy Dukes Rodriguez YouTube channel, we're here with Jorge Tovar. I don't even want to mess up the nickname. We were just joking right now. El Jaguar.
El Jaguar. Yes.
El Jaguar.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah, man. You're elusive Jaguar, you.
Yes.
So this is an exclusive interview, and I do appreciate your time, brother.
No. Thank you for coming out of your way and putting us on your platform.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. So obviously, we got a fight coming up in about a week, and so. But I wanted to kind of just talk to you a little bit about yourself, man. I've been around the gym at Bloodline here and there, and you're always there. Anytime I'm there, you're pretty much there, and I'm sure you're there more than I am, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sit down and talk to you and get to know you a little bit more, just past the boxing stuff at the ring, at the gym, man. So, how long have you been just training overall boxing?
I would say like my dad put me in boxing at 8 years old.
Dang.
Yeah.
8 years old, and then was that because I always like hearing the backstory because people do things for different reasons. Was boxing like in the family, or is it just kind of like, here, let me put you in something because you're crazy?
It's just my surroundings, bro. Like I was a little kid that dealt with a lot of anger, and at the time I was obese and I was always fighting, so it just came naturally. Like my dad decided to put me in boxing to take care of my health and also learn how to defend myself and my sisters.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing that because when people get into combat sports, it's either because like the bullying, the weight, and I love hearing that kind of stuff because a lot of kids need to hear that kind of stuff from people that've been around, and you're a professional now, and you're relatable because how many people can raise their hands and say that's the situation I was in, and getting in a combat sport or just boxing got me away from that kind of negative stuff, right?
Well, yeah, like I remember my surroundings, bro. Like a lot of us come from the same trauma at home, or you know what I mean. A lot of us express our emotions different ways, and my way was fighting.
Yeah,
definitely fighting.
Nice. So you've been doing it for 8. When did it now become a hobby? When did you realize I really like doing this, and I want to start competing? When was that turning point age-wise where you were like, this is not just a hobby, I'm going to pursue this a little bit more than just somebody who's in high school football or something like that?
Well, I'll tell you this. At 9 years old, it was going to be my first match for amateur boxing. And at the time, I was 135 pounds, bro, at 9 years old. And there was no other kid local. And so I didn't end up fighting, and that kind of discouraged me, so I let go of boxing. And then I remember at 13, 14, I was watching the 24/7 All Access. I don't know if you remember those. Mm-hmm. Like HBO.
Yeah, they still kind of have them here and there for bigger fights.
Right. Well, HBO is no longer around. It was a great platform for boxing, but I saw Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and I guess the promo video that they did for him, it was against Brian Vera the second time. That kind of sparked something in me, and my dad told me, he's like, bro, that could be you. Like, I'm telling you, you have talent. You hit hard. You're fast. And I was just like, whatever, we'll just train boxing then, we'll go back. And that same night, we trained in the backyard, bro, and that's what started, 13, 14.
Nice. When you were doing it at that young age, you were inspired by seeing that. When was the pro, even in the pro word, even thought of? Was it a little older, you're already 18, 19, or just when was it I want to be a pro, other than just being more in a hobby?
I was 21 years old, and that's after my daughter was born. Mm-hmm. So I had already went to nationals. I was already ranked in 2 weight divisions. I had already golden gloves, all that. I already did that. So I was like, I'll think about going pro next.
Yeah. That's cool. I love hearing that too, because it was so casual. Oh yeah, I'm at nationals. I'm ranked, and I guess I'll do this pro thing.
Yeah.
I guess I might as well get paid, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
At the time, like I said, I had my daughter already, and I had just graduated college as a HVAC technician. So I was making money, and in my head, I'm like, what if I start doing this? Uh-huh. And I told myself, man, I'm gonna regret it if I don't shoot for this. I already dedicated my whole life. I already sacrificed so much. We'll see where God takes me in this.
Yeah, I love the honesty because a lot of people think like, oh, wow, ever since I was 8, I knew I was gonna be a pro, and like I get there's people like that, but I like because you're more relatable because you're just like, hey man, I was still pursuing the boxing, I still was going to school, I was becoming a parent, and then that after all of those, then you're like, I'll be a pro, because a lot of people would flip it and say like, oh, pro or nothing, and not worry about what they got going on. I always felt like in any line of work or life, I feel like once you have like a good foundation, then you can pursue what you want to pursue. Because I feel like sometimes you might not have the support at home or maybe financially and stuff like that.
Life happens.
Yeah, life happens, so it's hard to pursue something. And I know like there's a lot of gung-ho people like, oh, it's plan A or nothing, you know what I mean? I get it, but some people have to kind of sit back and kind of like move some chess pieces, you know what I mean, to move forward. So, you're fighting here at home, and you talk about, seeing that promo. What were some early role models for you, boxing or not boxing, that inspired you to keep pursuing the boxing career?
I would say for sure Chavez, man. He's an all-time great. Chavez, Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson, man. And then also Mayweather too. Like, I guess his lifestyle. Yeah. Like, coming where I come from, like, I wanted that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us do.
Yeah, I mean, well, you guys work so hard. We were kind of just joking right now. Like, you guys do so much in the gym, at home, to take care of yourself and things like that. I remember when you fought in your last fight and you were cutting weight. You're like, bro, I want to talk to you, but I'm like, hey, I get it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
There's a lot of things there's a lot of things that you guys have to do. So when you can say, hey man, I want to spend a little money on this, or have stuff that I worked for,
make it worth the sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it was just given to you and you're like, oh, I just want this shit or whatever. But I love hearing like the young heroes and stuff like that, because you might not like some people's lifestyles or whatever, but they worked hard for it, and I feel like anybody can carry themselves. Not you're hurting anybody. It's like, who can say whatever, right?
My opinion was way different before I was a pro boxer. When it came down to Mayweather and certain fighters, and now that I'm a fighter, I'm like, man, I see this thing different. You know what I mean? So like, fight fans, when they have their takes on certain fighters, I kind of like, man, I used to think like that, but now I'm boxing, so I think differently.
I like when anybody could say like, oh, I will do this, or like, you're not the guy who's actually put time in. You're not actually the guy who's cutting the weight, showing up, and performing, and winning, so it's easy for somebody to be like, oh, I could take him, or I could do that, you know what I mean? Right. And even when I'm like covering the sport, everything, I'm more honest, because I've had people like, hey, you were saying this or whatever. I'm like, I'm just trying to be down the middle. Like when I try to, I've never, every time I talk to fighters, I've never fought in my life, like, even like in a street fight, you know what I mean? Maybe like I've wrestled a little bit, held somebody down. I've never been punched in the face full force. I've never punched somebody in the face full force. I've never cut weight. I've never done an exhibition. So how am I to say, oh yeah, I wish George would have fucking done this. You know what I mean?
See, that's being real, bro. Like, the ring walk alone is a lot of adrenaline for someone to handle. Like, a lot of people that talk, bro, they will literally pass out. By the time they're in the ring, all their condition is out of their system. Like, they're done. Right, they lost the fight before they even started. Yeah, man. It's a lot to handle.
I like how you said that, because I was at your last fight and I was in the back, and great entrance, by the way. That shit was amazing. The whole group that you got out and whoever did that was amazing. But I was in the back and I was recording you, and I made that video, and I was just like, you were calm as shit.
Yeah, I was in my head, man.
But you were like calm. You were just there. You're like, you took it all in, and you went out there and got it done, man. But speaking of that finish, it's like, have these knockouts just kind of like, have you always kind of like, people's like call you a knockout artist, or is it just like naturally to you, or is it something that you've been building over time to where you're like, you started finishing fights more often?
Well, you know what? I've actually been knocking out a lot of people since I was a little kid. I've always had a heavy hand. And a lot of these sparrings, I've knocked out a lot of people, but I just never had tape on them. Yeah. And so this is natural to me, really. Like, I know I've always been heavy-handed. Right now I'm learning how to execute my power, because I've learned that power is not everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gets to a certain level in boxing where it comes down to timing and your jab, your ring IQ, set up traps, stuff like that. So power is not just everything.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've learned by being around guys like you or other fighters where they're not so much looking for the finish. It's gonna come.
Right.
Kind of deal. And that last fight, you were just tagging, body. Tagging, move, tag, body. And I was like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's coming.
It's coming. You know what I mean? And like, everybody knows it's coming. Like, guys that are known for certain things, even like a lot of the MMA guys, like they see it coming and they know it's coming. They still can't stop it. You know, so talk about like you building the repetition and having those game plans. You were just talking about the setting the traps. That's one thing I had to say. I'm like, oh crap. Like this whole thing was led up to just that punch.
Yeah. You know, I'm learning on the job, bro. I don't have a person that local, you know, that's telling me, oh, you should do this when you're fighting 8 rounds, when you're fighting 10 rounds, you got to start looking into this. Like me, my dad, and my coach, we're all learning as we go.
Yeah, I love the honesty too, because a lot of people see you like, oh, I'm at 12-0, and like he's like, I'm still figuring it out.
I'm still learning.
You know what I mean? I'm still figuring it out. I love that too, because a lot of people think that a lot of pro fighters or anybody in life has it all figured out. Like when you're honest and you're always willing to learn and you're always like learning still at this point in your life and you're like, that ain't ish right now. I'm still learning and moving forward with that, man. And I love hearing that kind of stuff because a lot of people think that athletes are just have it all figured out.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't, bro. Like I said, we go back to the drawing board and my dad or my coach are like, you did really great. I'm like, yeah, but this, you know what I mean? I didn't like this, I didn't like that. He's like, bro, you're putting out the negative things you want. I'm like, no, there's much more to learn.
Yeah, I'm just being honest with myself. Like, I should not got tagged there. I know I did good, but I can do better because the next challenge is even be harder, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier.
Oh, no, I got to get ready for the next fight.
Yeah. So, you know, talk about some of the key things like to staying sharp in and out of the ring, you know, as you're being, you know, you're learning on the job, you know, talk about some of the things that you do outside the ring to kind of keep you sharp.
Well, you know what? I believe everything you do outside the ring affects you inside the ring. So I don't really have much friends that I hang out with. I'm learning about recovery for my body, my mental health. You know, I've been reading, you know, little stuff like that. That's pretty much what I've been doing outside the ring.
I've noticed that some of the fighters that I've gotten to know, like there's a lot of guys that I know, there are a lot of amateurs, but when I see them like moving up to that pro level and then pursuing this and getting better, they say some of the same things like that. They're like, you know, I'm like hanging out less. I'm recovering more.
Yeah.
My mental state. Because like you gotta, like you guys have so much stuff going on. You're kind of joking before I got here, like, it's my first day off, I gotta do laundry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's just because you have so much stuff going on when it comes to your career. You know, I love hearing that. The recovery was one of the biggest things that I've learned over time being around a lot of athletes is like you can go in there, you know, go to the gym, run 10 miles, do this, and this, and then you go home and just sleep. And then just like, oh, what about food? What about
stretching?
You know, what a recovery
massage
and stuff like that. That's such a big thing. So talk about how that's changed throughout your career.
Well, I barely changed that the beginning of this year, and that's due to an injury that I had. So that's me learning the hard way, you know what I mean? But because of that, I'm able to pass it down and tell the amateurs that we have in the gym, like, hey, bro, you need to stretch. You know what I mean? You need to, and they laugh at me because I stretch for about an hour every day.
Jackie was just saying that the other day when one of the other guys was in there. He had like a sciatic thing, and he's like, "What do you think Jorge warms up for like a whole hour before he does anything?"
And even then, I still get injured. So imagine when I don't stretch, I don't recover. You know what I mean? But like I said, now I'm trying to take care of my hands. I'm trying to take care of my body and everything, bro. And that's what I tell all these fighters, bro. Take care of yourself, bro. You are your business. You know what I mean? You're fighting in there. You're the one dealing with these injuries, bro.
Yeah, so because nobody else could do it for you, right?
Nobody.
Yeah, man. So I've noticed that, and this is just me now that I'm around more combat sport athletes, there's always been a boxing scene here. Do you think that the boxing scene is just gradually just getting bigger and bigger now?
Yeah, definitely. We haven't had it, you know, but El Paso, naturally, it's a fight town, bro. It's a border town city. You know, we got a lot of people that like watching fights, fighting themselves. And, you know, we come from that. Yeah. So, Yeah, we just need support. That's all. We need the right promoting for the fighters, for the local fighters up and coming, for the amateurs. You know, I believe we're paving the way for them. So yeah, man, Paso's a fighting town.
I love the fact that without you even trying, you're pretty much an ambassador of the sport here. You know what I mean? Like, people look up to you, even though you're kind of like humble and laid. You don't like.
I don't look into.
Yeah, you know, you're not in front of the cameras. You're not doing much shit like that. But everybody that I've talked to or been around you, they're like, man, you're A1 and stuff like that. And I feel like you just being yourself is a good example of, you know, being ambassador for the sport. Without you even trying, you're just being yourself. Do you feel like that's a kind of like, I'll take it, but kind of like that's not your goal? It just.
Well, in a way, you know, the way my path played out for me, me starting at 8 years old, I've seen several pros up and coming, and I've seen their careers go up and down. And me, myself, like, I always knew what I was missing. You know what I mean? So now that I'm in this position, I know how to talk to one of the little kids.
Yeah.
I can see myself right through them.
Yeah.
So I always tell myself, man, what would I wish at the time I would have heard?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You look back at that, even for me with like different things, like I was in IT for 17 years, and ever since I was younger, I had a lot of older guys that were like, man, just go to school. If you want to be an IT professional, do this, and this. And I had the right encouragement and stuff like that. So now that anything I do with content, I've been creating content for 6 years, and people say, well, what do you think, Jimmy? I'm like, look, I don't know everything, but the blueprint's there. If you do this, and this, and you're honest with yourself, you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like, I've had people a year later like, dude, you told me this, and this, and I started doing it, man, thank you. And I would just kind of like thinking the same thing you just said. And what would I say to myself if I was in that position? So you just kind of encouraging. I know I was at the gym when you told Gianni, like, hey, man, I see what you're doing, man. Keep doing it like that. And I feel like those little moments like that, it's so impactful with somebody kind of like, oh, damn, like, I'm doing something good. I'm doing something right.
Because I know, you know, like in the amateur boxing, bro, I got ranked in 2 weight classes and I was winning and stuff like that. But me, myself, I know I didn't give it my all. Mm-hmm. You know, because I didn't have the support. I didn't have that push. I was just, that's natural raw talent. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So me seeing this with the kids is like, man, now I want to push them. Now I want to push them because I know how I was, and I want to push them to their full potential. And the amateurs is like how do you say? When you go pro, they look into that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's your background. And when you come from El Paso and then you go to nationals, you go to Golden Gloves, all these tournaments outside of town, and you face the bigger cities like Cali or New York, Philly. Like, they got more resources. They got more connections. You know what I mean? We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. So I know what it requires, what it takes to get to that level.
Yeah. I love that you say that, because one thing that I've always said for combat sports here in El Paso is like, there's not enough of us that we should not try to collaborate or work with each other within reason. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I feel like, I was like, oh, fuck that gym, or like, we don't want to talk to that gym or whatever. It's more like, hey, like, we're all here. Let's one promoter from CFC, shout out to Carlos. He's like, 915 versus everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that's cool.
Let's all try to work within reason, you know, to make each other better. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like for our city, and since we're smaller and, you know, facing somebody who like out of LA or whatever, they have way more experience, more people to talk to, more training partners and stuff like that. So I feel like when things like that, hey, we should all try to at least band together to a certain extent and push for each other, right?
Yeah, when I went to state the first time I won Golden Gloves here, I went to state with the record of 9-0, 0 losses, right? 9 wins. Bro, my first fight was against a dude from Austin. He had 126 fights.
Damn.
And like 7 losses. But you see the difference, you know what I mean? And I remember at the time in my amateur years, we would have like one fight, one amateur event, maybe like once every 3 months, and that's if we get lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you're constantly training, and then for a lot of people that didn't have the money or the time to go out and travel, your talent stays here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the hunger, the fire to wanting to be a fighter, it kind of dies out.
Yeah, because you don't know how to get pushed unless you put in that situation where like, hey, this is not normal that I'm fighting some guy with over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But even then, bro, like, I almost stopped that dude in the third round, and I got him with the body shot. I almost stopped him. And I lost in a decision. It was a split decision. So I told myself, man, like, if I had more experience, I know I would have ended that dude. You know what I mean? I would have stopped him. But that told me, too, at the same time, like, I just got to keep training hard. And in my head, like, think like I'm fighting constantly so I could keep that same hunger. You know what I mean? But I'm able to compete with those guys. And I have less fights, less experience. But it's just raw talent, like I tell you.
Yeah, the one thing that always trips me out about boxing is that you guys fight so often in the amateur scene. Like, I've talked to people with 100 fights. I'm like, what? How old are you? Like, it just trips me out. And like, so that all that building over time is kind of like the brick by brick, how you were saying, and you had that experience in the whole amateur scene. So it's cool that you can, you know, give some encouragement to some younger guys. Like, I did this, I did that. Don't do this. Look into this. And now with the whole recovery thing, and you're being more honest about your training, but all that said, man, we got this fight. At the stadium, man. Like,
next week.
Yeah. How awesome is it to know that you'll be fighting in a venue like that?
It's pretty cool, and like I said, it's all mental. I always tell myself it's nothing. I've had dreams where I'm fighting in bigger arenas. You know, so to me it's cool, but at the same time, like, there's much more that I know I could accomplish. You know, and at the same time, it's kind of like I'm psyching myself out, so I'm not nervous when I'm there. And shout out to Dom, but when Dom fought there, I imagined myself fighting there, and now I'm fighting there. So
that's cool, man. And like, you fought at the Coliseum recently too. You know, talk about the benefits of fighting at home. You know, like, you've had to travel all, you know, amateur career and stuff like that, and some pro. Now you get 2 fights at home. Talk about the benefits of fighting at home.
Well, it's pretty cool, you know. My training camp is here. My sparring partners are here. My family, the support is here. So that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it could play against you if you feed into it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you just got to go to the gym, go back home.
And that's a mental thing too, because I've seen other guys that I've been around more shows, more MMA obviously, but a lot of guys I've seen, like, they'll even say, like, they'll get in their head sometimes, you know what I mean, for no reason. You know, for no reason. And I feel like over time, when they talk about it, and then they talk about it more often, and after a while, it's just like they're so used to it, it just kind of like, I'll say it, but I'm not gonna feed into it. Kind of how you were saying, like, I know it's there, you know, but I'm not gonna let it affect my performance or how I carry out business. Is that something you just built over time?
Yeah, like, for example, when I was fighting at the Coliseum, my first time going pro, you know, fighting here at home, man, I was nervous, and then I started psyching myself. I'm like, bro, I fought here in the Golden Gloves plenty of times. Like, it's just another day. You know what I mean? But you yourself, you could create that pressure without you even being there. And like I said, you work against yourself. So it's all mental. You literally got to calm yourself down. Your coach can't do that for you. Nobody, it's up to you, bro.
Talk about your coaching staff. I know that you've been with your head coach and your dad for a while, and then now, you know, collaborating with Bloodline. You know, talk about that and the benefits of being open to work with another coach and things like that.
Well, my dad was my coach originally. And then I believe, like, at 16 years old, I met Ruben Garcia, which is now my head coach. And he had a team full of killers, man. Like, if you know him in the amateurs, you know that anybody that was matched against anyone from his team, they know they throw nonstop punches. They all got condition. They all fight hard and go forward. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuck out to me. And little by little, like, throughout these tournaments, me and Victor Aranda, we were sparring partners to begin with. So we started picking up things from Ruben here and there, and vice versa. And then we started working with him. And then I saw Jackie's talent from, like, a mile away, bro. And I'm the one who little by little started talking to my dad, like, hey, get Jackie, bro. Trust me, Jackie, get Jackie. And sure enough, me and Jackie, we're like sync, bro. Like, he throws certain combinations that I like throwing without me telling him. Just with that look, I already know what he wants. You know what I mean? Or vice versa, he knows what I want.
I love that, because it's a team, right? Even though you're by yourself, you know, you have everybody And that's one thing too. A lot of fighters don't have. They don't have the right type of support system at home or at the gym.
A team.
You know what I mean? The right type of people, because like one person can be saying this or leading you wrong or certain things. I feel like that's important to surround yourself about the people that want to see you win for the right reasons. And if it's something doesn't make sense, they'll be honest with you. And you know, things like that. So talk about how that's been working all together now for like the past year and a half or two that you guys all been working together.
Yeah, since I was 6-0, that's when Jackie started working with us, and right now I'm 12-0, on my way to 13-0.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's been good, man. Like I said, I'm still learning on the job.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that people have came up to me and talk to me about, and then I go back to my coach and I'm like, hey, they told me this. I'm like, nah, you gotta answer like this. You gotta do this. You gotta understand that we got our own plan. Don't feed into that.
Yes.
So yeah, having the right people around you definitely plays a huge part in you.
Yeah, I love that, because the right type of people around you are gonna be honest with you, and you know, especially for yourself as an athlete, you know,
for your best interest.
Yeah, some people might be pulling at you for the wrong reasons, for different things, kind of like, and then you gotta have the right person be like, hey, no, that's probably not the best look.
For example, my dad, right? Every fighter has an ego within themselves, and I used to spar like big dudes. I didn't care, just I didn't want to seem like scared or stuff. Like I said, it's an ego thing. Yeah. And I remember one time my dad was just on me, bro, like, are you running? Are you doing this? And it was an everyday thing, and I got so fed up, and I'm like, bro, why are you on me so much? Like, what do you care? Like, I'm the one fighting. He's like, all right, the day you have a son and they're hitting them, you come up to me and tell me how that feels. And that kind of changed my whole perspective, because I got a daughter now. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want that for my baby girl. I want her to be safe, be good. Yeah. So I understand whatever they tell me is for my own good. Yes. My best interest.
Yeah. And that's cool, because like I've known Jackie now for about a year and a half now, and everybody praises him, and you know, being around your team too and stuff like that. I love seeing the collaboration. I always see that, because like I always see like, damn, everybody just thinks it's one person, but there's like everybody says it takes a village, you know. It really does take a village, and I've been fortunate to hang out with some cool athletes and get to talk to them, and they all say the same type of things, the right type of guys, you know what I mean, where they're like, hey man, I used to be like this, I used to be like that, and with time it just like that circle just got smaller. And like as it got smaller, because
everybody wants to be a part of it, you know, but nobody really wants to be there helping you out to get there.
It's like I just want to be part of the celebrations.
Right, exactly.
Hell yeah, that's my boy, dog. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, we got this fight coming up, and I'm excited to see you go out there, man. You're 12-0, 9 knockouts.
9 knockouts.
Yeah, 9 knockouts. Do you feel pressure to keep the winning streak going, or you're just like one task at a time kind of deal?
Well, I know that winning is important, especially in boxing. You know, thanks to Mayweather, he set that up. You know, like one loss in boxing, you suck. You go way back down. So like winning is really important. But as far as knocking out, that got out of my head. Like I said, up until 6-0, I went fully all knockouts. And then my 7th fight, I didn't get the knockout. So that's when my dad talked to me. He's like, you see how I'm telling you, you're not going to knock out all these guys. Power is not the only thing. Yeah. You got to start working around the table. You got to learn how to set up traps. You got to start how to jabbing more. You got to learn how to take your time, be more patient. You can't just always go forward expecting to knock everybody out. Yeah. Because you're going to meet your match one day. What then?
Yeah, exactly. But you're sharpening yourself to the point where when you do face some adversity, you're able to get through it. Yeah. Because I've seen some of the better fighters that I've gotten to know, and there's some adversity, and I'm just like, some guys crumble, and then some guys are like getting their ass kicked, and then they just overcome what's going on and they win, and I'm just like, wow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time, even from the guy who's sitting on the couch, I would have not quit. You know what I mean? You're the one in there. But when I see guys that I know, like I get nervous as I get to know a lot of fighters, and I see them fight on TV or in person. I get nervous because I know all the backstory and what they've been doing and what they've been dealing with to be in there, and then for them to overcome something and win. I'm like, dude, that is so inspiring. You know, I love seeing that stuff.
I've seen some videos from like family members that go to my fights, and you know, my opponent's punches don't seem hard, and they're very slow, but I promise you, those punches feel like bricks, bro.
Yeah, bro, I can
You know
even
what I mean? They feel like bricks. And they'll be telling me, like, hey, do they hurt? I'm like, yes, bro. I'm in my bed after the fight. I'm in my bed, like, yeah. Like 2 weeks straight hurting.
Dang, man. But with all that being said, man, with all your experience and what you've done and, you know, just rising you beyond, any advice for the younger, you know, generation of fighters out there? Anybody just aspiring to do anything, not just be a boxer?
For sure, man. You know, I would definitely say take care of yourself outside the ring. You know, who you hang around with, what you do, your habits, your daily habits. You gotta really invest in yourself, because this fighting game, you get older as you fight, as you spar. You get older, so you need to take care of yourself. You gotta build a relationship with God, bro, because, you know, you're alone as it is in this fight world. So build a relationship with him, take care of yourself, take care of your diet, recover, take care of your body. And if you're an amateur, you know, take as many fights as possible. Don't really think about, like, wins and losses. You gotta just get the experience as you go.
Yeah, get those reps in and stuff like that, man. Before we get out of here, man, I do appreciate your time, but any last words you want to shout out your teammates, any sponsors?
I definitely want to shout out my sponsors, Macro Lab, Mendes and Mendes, Tax Services. I want to Romo. He's the one who does all my suits, my trunks for me and other fighters as well.
Those were dope. The last ones you were too.
Yeah, well, he's the guy. You know, La Mexicana Sabrosa. I wanna shout out to her. You know,
let's just make sure we get everybody. It takes a village, man. It takes a village, yo.
Beltran's Plastering, you know, and Melendez Auto Sales. Shout out to them. They believe in me. They help me out. And there's plenty of other sponsors that helped me out throughout my last fight. So I want to shout out everybody that's helped me out and believe in me.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. But it's going down.
October
Bouts
11th.
at the park. Bouts at the park. We're going to see you out there, man. And once again, I do appreciate your time, and thank you so much, man. Just being around you, you're such a good dude. And, like, we're not best of friends or anything. We're not buddy-buddy. But every time I've been around you and we've had just small conversations, man, I love it, what you're doing, man. And it's inspiring me every time I hang out with people that are pursuing something outside the norm. Yeah. Is what I always tell people, like, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Correct.
So I respect what you got going on and stuff like that, man. So thank you for your time, brother.
And I appreciate you too, because, you know, you give us the fighters a platform, you know, and that's what we need. We need a platform, we need the support. So thank you for going out of your way for us.
Hell yeah, man. I love it. Anybody who ever wants to talk to me, if it makes sense, I do. I'm not saying like I have the biggest platform, but I do love that too. And, you know, I love doing this. And if it's a win-win for all of us, it's dope, man. But thank you so much for your time. Make sure you guys are keeping up with me. Fight Talk with Jimmy Dukes. We're talking to all different combat athletes in the Southwest mainly. But until next time, we'll see you guys at the fights. Peace.
Take care.
Hey, you killed it, dog.